You said on Saturday that Erling had ligament damage and that he was feeling better. Have you had any evolution, any news on his situation and his injury?
Feels better.
Still feels better?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Comparing Saturday and Sunday, even Monday, every day feels better, but still is not 100%. We don't want to take a risk. It's no sense. Hopefully we can have him against Fulham.
So he doesn't train with the team at the moment?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I tell you what, there were some very nervous Man City fans after Pep Guardiola mentioned perhaps ligament damage to Erling Haaland's ankle from last week. Welcome to Room 442. Sharman and Pereira here with you. Luckily, it seems to be minor. He's missing the Champions League game this week, but could be back in time for Fulham on the weekend. So bad news for Fulham, of course. But, you know, as a neutral, as far as looking at City and Haaland, I'm really happy he's healthy. Because it's almost that race for these records was transcending the club. And now and again, that's not a bad thing. He's on 17 goals in 11 games in the Prem. I want to see him score 40 or 50 or 60.
Yeah, no, he's so exciting to watch. He's young, he's new, he's athletic, he's everything right now, right? So I totally agree. The match against Man City, doesn't matter. They're already through. They're top of the table. So not a bad match to miss for Erling Haaland. And yeah, Fulham, going to be a tough match. So hopefully we'll see him there. And, you know, they did well without him, against Leicester. But we don't want to waste any more time. Let's get him back on the pitch.
He could have 20 goals by you know, the beginning of November.
He could have 20 goals this weekend.
By the way, did you see the pictures of his
oh
his
my God, the
cornrows?
braids.
Or
Yeah,
braids?
yeah.
Braids or cornrows?
Braids for
Braids,
the
right?
costume, right?
Was it for a costume?
Wasn't it his Halloween costume?
Okay, well, you know, if it is, we'll find a picture and put it up. I just hope it doesn't continue because, I mean, he's terrifying as it is. You throw braids in him, I'm not sure what I'm thinking at this point.
He looks like he's actually out of the House of Dragons.
He does,
he
totally,
belongs to
I just started watching that, by the way, and he does, 100%. Your boy, though, Julian Alvarez, would, I think, take full advantage of that. What are you seeing so far of him? Have you been impressed? I mean, he bossed it last year in Argentina. He's obviously getting not as much playing time so far, but so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's all right. I'm not, you know, super impressed. I'm not thinking he's playing poorly, but I think the thing is he's just not getting that consistent playing time. So how is he going to, you know, feel comfortable with the players on the pitch? He's not seeing the pitch really frequently at all. So that is the only plus I think I'm taking out of this right now, is that at least he's getting on the pitch and getting minutes.
Concerns, of course, right now regarding injuries around the World Cup. Bukayo Saka injured last week. There was concern about that. He had a scan on Monday, but Mikel Arteta makes Arsenal fans and England fans feel good about themselves.
How bad is Bukayo Saka's injury, and is the World Cup in for doubt for him?
Hopefully not. It was a bad kick right from the beginning. He was limping, but I don't see any further than that. Let's see how he is in the next couple of days.
What was it foot, ankle, leg?
I think both. I think he got kicked a few times and he wasn't comfortable to continue.
So he should be just fine. Just a knock, it seems like. Do you think Saka has cemented himself into Gareth Southgate's starting 11 for England?
I would hope so. I mean, I really think he's talented. He's young. He's, you know, he has the speed, the pace. I would be, you know, a bit taken aback if I didn't see him in the starting 11. I think Southgate should be really pleased that he's not that injured. We know Mikel Arteta is. And I don't know, do you think he has a spot?
I think
Surely.
at this point, he's probably the informed English player in the Premier League right now. I think you have him, Foden, on one side.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Harry Kane
Yeah.
up front. I heard someone, I forget who it was, a well-known reporter, though, saying he still thinks it'd be Rashford.
To be fair, I was going to say
Sterling.
Rashford is having a bit of a season himself right now.
Now, yeah, but he's still, I know people are saying he's back to his best, but he's not back to his best. He's scoring goals finally, but he's not ruthless just yet. He's obviously going to be in the squad,
Yeah.
and he's an important member of that squad, but I don't see how he gets in there instead of Phil Foden at this point.
No,
if
no.
it's on the left or if he plays on the right
Yeah.
with Saka. But, you know, depth, it's not a bad thing, is it?
Not at all.
Speaking of injuries, though, there's so many right now. It's such a concern, isn't it? Pogba's out for the World Cup. Jota's out for the World Cup. Kante's out for the World Cup. France, in particular, are being just hammered right now.
Yeah, Boubacar Kamara as well. The thing is, they're being hammered, but if we also look at their depth, speaking of depth, with Conte and Pogba, we'll likely see Chouameni and
Rabiot, perhaps?
Camavinga.
Oh,
And
Camavinga too.
as
Yeah,
well.
that's
I
right.
just lost it there. Not a bad starting three in the middle. You know what I mean? France, I think, alongside Brazil, are two of the teams where if the injuries are going to hit them, it's better to hit them than other teams because they are so stacked. But yeah, it's getting a little it's getting nerve-wracking.
It's getting dicey for some teams, right? Even Brazil, you mentioned them, they lose Richarlison maybe for the World Cup, but then you look at their list of replacements up front and it's just ridiculous.
It's
you know, Jesus was perhaps not even on the plane.
Yeah.
And now maybe with an injured Richarlison, he gets in the plane. Maybe he gets in there regardless. But yeah, it's that time of year, a lot of concern. And for Canada, Canada's had its first injury victim, unfortunately. Scott Kennedy, centre-back, wouldn't be starting most games, I don't think, but would be a backup to Miller or Vittoria or Alistair Johnston. But still, it's a bad loss, I think, for Canada from a depth standpoint. A shoulder surgery, out for a few months.
Yeah, I think it's important to have depth in these teams, especially with Canada. Like looking at the back, Vittoria, he's not young. He's a great, solid player. But when you're trying to play 3 back-to-back games, 90 minutes against teams like Belgium, it's gonna take a toll on your body. So yeah, somebody like Scott Kennedy is great to have on the bench. You know, maybe a 70th minute sub, just to give some of these guys a bit of a break. So it's a little concerning for Canada.
Doesn't mean Derek Cornelius gets in there. Maybe Joel Waterman from Montreal gets in there as well. So there's options there, of course. But one thing Canada hasn't got in depth is at the back. So I think I'm gutted for Kennedy in particular. I mean, he's a good guy and he's a servant. Just 8 caps so far, but injuries have caused him. But he's still quite young. I think he's just turned 24, 25. So he'll be there for the next World Cup.
Yeah.
Canada will be there as well. Japan, by the way, have announced their squad. The first team for this year's World Cup announced November the 1st. It's November already, by the way.
I know.
Crazy. The first squad, no big surprises aside perhaps from the Celtic duo. Kyogo Furuhashi and Reo Hatate, both out, which I think is more of an indictment on where Scottish football is right now.
Yeah, I mean, but we've seen how Celtic have competed in the Champions League. They have 2 points in 5 matches. Like, it's not good. It's not up to par. And they do have so many players, Japan, that are on a higher level in the likes of, Daichi Kamada, Take, Tomiyasu. So you have to take who's better right now. And unfortunately, it's not these Scottish Premiership players.
We can't upset too many Celtic fans. We should also mention Rangers, 0 points so far as well.
Come on.
It upsets me, actually, the Scottish part of me, because there was a time when Scottish football was very respected.
Huge.
It's a good league. And it wasn't, well, I say not that long ago, probably 30 years now. But still, if these guys aren't making the Japan squad, both key members of Celtic, then it says everything. All right, we mentioned some Champions League there, of course, and we have Champions League coming up for you after the break. It is rapid fire, looking at all the games that go on Wednesday. It's back to the Champions League story with the group phase wrapping up on Wednesday. There's still some spots still to fight for, but not a lot. That said, there's still value to be had. Sarah, take it away with Group E.
Graham Potter's Chelsea have finally fallen. The Blues lost to Brighton over the weekend after being unbeaten in 9 matches, since losing to Dinamo Zagreb with Tuchel at the lead. But Zagreb haven't won a UCL match since, and Chelsea are already qualified with 10 points. Even if they lose this match, their head-to-head against second-place Milan is in their favor, so Chelsea really have nothing to play for. Zagreb, on the other hand, need a win, with the hopes of Salzburg losing to finish in a Europa League spot. The pressure is on here for Zagreb, but with Chelsea at home and wanting to gain their dignity back after matchday 1, I have to back the Blues. Go for Chelsea and get them to keep a clean sheet as well. AC Milan don't have a chance of topping Group E, but they can hold the second-place spot and keep their UCL spot with a win against Salzburg. Looking at the table, Group E is separated by only 3 points from second place to fourth place. But Zagreb's head-to-head with both Milan and Salzburg is awful, meaning it comes down to these two sides. Milan welcomes Salzburg to the San Siro, and basically, it's win and you're in for either side. Salzburg have some fantastic young talent in Adamu and Okafor, but can they handle Milan? Last time these two sides met, they drew, but Milan have been amazing at home. Milan lost to Torino over the weekend, but were unbeaten in 3 prior to that and showed an insane amount of talent on their side, even with all the injuries they're suffering. Brahim Diaz, Divock Origi, Rafael Leao, and Olivier Giroud. This one has the Rossoneri written all over it. Go for Milan and both teams to score at +210. The champions of the Champions League take on Celtic with just 2 points at the Santiago Bernabeu. Need I say more? Celtic are already out of the UCL and the Europa League, while Real Madrid have qualified, of course. But if they happen to drop points with a draw or loss to Celtic, Leipzig could jump them for the top of the group. But there is no way that will happen. This is Real Madrid. To find some good value here, here's a fun parlay. Take Real Madrid over 2.5 goals and no to both teams to score.
Leipzig, meanwhile, know that they just need to avoid defeat to advance to round of 16 from Group E, while Shakhtar are in last chance saloon. They need to win to advance, but are already guaranteed at least Europa League football. What all this means is that Leipzig-Shakhtar should be a doozy. There have been goals throughout both teams' campaigns so far, and I expect that to continue, especially with the Germans really heating up of late. It may have only been 1-1 last time they met, but both teams to score and over 2.5 total goals looks good to me. Group G is all settled. Man City have advanced ahead of Borussia Dortmund, with Sevilla heading down to the Europa League at the expense of Copenhagen. So let's look at some futures here, see where City sits these days overall. Well, they're still your big favourites at plus 200 ahead of Bayern Munich and Liverpool and PSG. But here's one for you. City to win the whole thing and Erling Haaland to win the Golden Ball, plus 740.
This game literally doesn't have an effect on Group G. Dortmund and Copenhagen can go any which way, and it won't matter. Let me explain. Because the UCL uses the head-to-head rule, if Dortmund beat Copenhagen and tie City for points, they'll remain second because they have a poorer head-to-head against City. Same thing with Copenhagen and Sevilla. So look at Dortmund here to most likely win, but if you want to have some fun, Dortmund to win the entire Champions League is plus 5,000. Good luck.
Group H is still a battle for top spot with PSG and Benfica locked at the top, so whichever team beats the others result will finish in first place. Juve, meanwhile, are just hoping to better Maccabi Haifa's result to stay in Europe. Okay, can we please talk about Lionel Messi? We keep saying his best days are behind him, right? He has 12 goals in his last 10 games. 5 assists in his last 3 games. In fact, he's contributed to 9 goals in his last 3 games. Messi is back. Another goal and assist against Juve pays plus 500. Who bet against him? So Benfica travel to Maccabi with one eye on the PSG match. The Portuguese side won 2-0 in the reverse fixture and are coming off that famous 4-3 win against Juventus. The Israeli side have beaten Juve, but that's it. This should be a routine win for Benfica, and they have the firepower to do it in style. Taking a win and the over pays plus 123.
Group F features Belgium, Croatia, Canada, and Morocco. Ranked number 2 in the world by FIFA, Belgium's golden generation of players will have one last chance to lift a major trophy after reaching the semi-finals in Russia 4 years ago. Roberto Martinez's side topped Group E without a single defeat, picking up 4 wins and 2 draws and racking up 25 goals in the process. Belgium boasts an array of attacking talent, including Kevin De Bruyne and Romelu Lukaku. And at minus 175, they're favorites to top the group and book a place in the knockout round. Croatia also boasts a golden generation of players, and last time out, Zlatko Dalic's side made it all the way to the final of the competition in Russia. The Croats have been similarly impressive on the route to Qatar, topping their group with only a single loss in 10 matches. And more recently, they've topped their Nations League group as well. At 37, Luka Modric will be making his final World Cup appearance, and the Ballon d'Or winner will be hoping to go out with a bang. At plus 225, Croatia are second favorites to top the group. Back at the World Cup for the first time since Mexico '86, Canada is yet another team boasting a golden generation of players, and the Maple Leafs could well be one of the surprise outfits in Qatar. John Herdman's side finished above Mexico and the USA to claim the CONCACAF top spot, scoring more goals and conceding fewer than any other team in the group. In Bayern Munich's Alphonso Davies, the Canadian men's national team have a bona fide superstar, capable of causing problems for any other team in the group. The Canadians are at plus 250 to make it out of the group stage in Qatar. After failing to reach the round of 16 in Russia, Morocco find themselves in another tough group this time around. But they were impressive in qualifying, going undefeated in the CAF qualifiers, scoring 20 and conceding just once, and then booking their World Cup spot courtesy of a 5-2 aggregate win over the Democratic Republic of Congo in the playoffs. PSG's Achraf Hakimi and Chelsea's Hakim Ziyech are 2 of Morocco's standout talents, and the North African side are also at plus 250 to reach the round of 16 next month.
All right, so on to Group F, and who better to have in here than James Sharman and Michael Singh? We're talking Canada heavy. We'll talk about the other teams, but listen, this is a big moment for this Canadian team. What are your realistic expectations for these guys coming out of this group?
Realistic? That's a good question. I think they'll play well. They'll do themselves proud. I don't think they'll emerge from the group, but they won't get blown out. I'm pretty confident as well. Even though Belgium, Croatia are great teams, and Morocco is really underrated, they won't get blown out. I think they'll score a goal. And everyone asks me, will they score a goal in this because of 86? Yeah, they'll score a goal in this World Cup. The attack's too potent not to score a goal. So I think they'll be proud. They'll fly the flag high, and they'll come home early. But that's okay. It's a build.
Mikey?
Yeah, I'm with James. I think they're going to score a goal. Are they going to advance out of the group? Hey, crazier things have happened at World Cups. Probably not. They're the underdogs in this group for a reason. But I'm not going to rule it past Canada to find a way to put some magic together and advance out of the group.
We know it's funny. Every time we doubt this team through qualifying, every single time they came through with a performance, a good performance. And it all began back in 2019, beating the States at BMO, and no one thought they could do that. They did it. So they always surprise us. So you're right. World Cup, strange things do happen. And why not? There's definitely an opportunity and a chance they could progress. I just don't think, I wouldn't bet in it, put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about their strengths and weaknesses in this group. I mean, going forward, it's never really been an issue throughout qualifying. They have the goal scorers to score goals. But it's just at the back end, I think, is the worrying issue for Canada going up against Belgium, Croatia, and Morocco. Morocco and Canada are very similar, but, Morocco can't score goals.
Yeah, Morocco is a really tough team, and they're going to be getting some pieces back. And Mazraoui and Hakim Ziyech, guys who were not part of this team during their qualifying, but have since come back into the fray. And you add in Hakimi into that mix, and out wide, that's where Morocco's strengths are. You look at Canada, that's where Canada's strengths are. So I think that'll be such a great game. And a lot of people are saying Morocco is the one team that Canada should beat or have a chance at beating. I don't think it's that straightforward.
No.
I don't think they're going to be that much of a
Real
walkover,
tough match.
right?
The fact is, Morocco fired their manager so Ziyech could come back into the team. Just like a few months ago, right? This is how much they rely on Ziyech up front. And you're right, the width of those players as well. So, yeah, really similar teams. I think that'd be a really interesting match. Be won or loss out wide, I think, as opposed to in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, don't rule out Morocco at all. Everyone's discounting them, but that's a big mistake.
And on the flip side, Canada will be looking at them. Morocco will be looking at Canada saying, listen, if we can get a couple of results against Belgium and Croatia and we beat Canada, we're through.
Just get a point against one of those big boys, right? That's the thing.
But they are very similar because each side has a handful of players who play in Europe at some big teams. And then they have a star individually in Alphonso Davies and Hakim Ziyech. I know Hakim Ziyech hasn't been great for Chelsea, but if you remember his days back at Ajax, he's one of the main reasons why they made that run to the Champions League.
And we saw Ziyech last year. He showed me enough at Chelsea. He
can
be a game breaker.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at the stars, I'm taking Canada's stars over Morocco's stars. If we're looking at the game breakers, Alphonso Davies is probably the best left back in the world right now. I don't think that's an overstatement at all. And he steps up for big games. We've seen in the past. Jonathan David is in form, in incredible form. He's a reason why all these big clubs want him.
And Morocco hasn't got an Eustáquio in the middle of the park.
They don't.
No.
Right? And don't forget, we have a player playing week in, week out for Porto in the Champions League. Scored his first goal as well, right, this time around. So, we talk about the stars of Canada. Eustáquio is one of those guys now as well.
100%. I'm glad you brought that up. Also, Morocco lost 3-0 to the States just a couple months ago. Right? Of course, it's a friendly. It's one fixture, but they're vulnerable. They're not invincible. But I don't think it'll be as easy.
No, you can't dismiss them, right? Second highest ranked African team behind Senegal. There's two other teams in this group, though.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start with Belgium, an aging side, but still in the golden generation, James. Is this the tournament where they can finally win something?
I've been saying that for about a decade now, I think. This is the one, right? And they haven't done it so far, but they're still a class team. They're oozing class. I know Lukaku has done his hammy.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks from the World Cup, that's not good news.
That's a big loss.
Big loss, right? He's been so injury prone this season. So even if he makes it, he's not going to be 100%. That's great for Canada.
Right.
What isn't great for Canada is that Kevin De Bruyne is playing as good as I've seen him the last few weeks. Pep Guardiola called him out on Man City saying we can get more from Kevin. And we got more from Kevin the last.
That free kick?
Yeah.
Don't give free kicks away to Bill. Okay, John Herman.
Yeah.
Right? don't tell your players not to foul Belgium, okay?
Don't let them shoot from outside the box either.
No, exactly.
unbelievable.
They're class. They're a
Yeah,
fantastic
they
team.
really are.
And at the back, they're aging a bit,
Big
I suppose,
time. I
but they're
think big
still
time, James.
cultured players.
Yeah.
And Yuri Tielemans is another guy on that team. Is just
Nice
he's
goal as
so
well, by the way.
underrated. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is so good.
They have a lot of players. Trossard, Carrasco,
Axel
yeah,
Witsel.
both Hazards.
Yeah,
You think about
too,
Trossard,
yeah.
right? He's been bossing
Yeah.
it this year for Brazil.
And he's the type of player against Canada because he's so physically
Yeah.
like better than everyone else. He's so quick. He can
Yeah,
change.
their
a game
biggest
like that.
weakness is that back three, but behind them they have Thibaut Courtois, so not too bad. Let's talk about Croatia, another aging team.
Yeah.
Their biggest strength being in the midfield, 300 caps between Kovacic, Brozovic, and Modric. That's a pretty good midfield. But weaknesses for them as well is in net and up front they can't really score goals. And I think Canada, if they want to play that style where they sit back and counter, I think they can do it well against Croatia.
That's the one team I think, if we're talking about the big two, I think Canada have a better chance against Croatia.
Right.
Because Canada's strengths are playing off the counterattack. And sure, Belgium's defense is potentially old, but they're still class. They've been there, done that. I think Croatia's a little bit more susceptible to potentially be broken down on the counter by Canada. So
Right.
I think I'd really watch that matchup for Canada.
Yeah, Canada matches up nicely against Croatia, but it's still Croatia.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here, and let's not overthink this. If Canada got a result, even a point against Croatia, it might be one of the, if not the greatest result
It
in
would
their
be.
history.
Yeah.
It's still Croatia. They're a World Cup finalist.
Of course, yeah.
Right? 4 years ago.
Yeah.
They're a team that was aging then, we thought, but they were the fittest team at the World Cup. There's something about that team. They put that shirt on and they lose 10 years. Right? They're incredible. I'm a huge Croatia fan. Few teams play better football.
But eventually it's got to.
I suppose.
Gotta get over the
There is
hill,
some
no?
youth coming through.
Right,
There is
yeah.
some youth coming
I
through.
mean,
but
experience
they
plays
rely
a huge,
on that midfield.
experience plays a huge factor in these tournaments, especially when you've been there before. Croatia, let's not forget, man, they were finalists against France.
And don't forget, Canada has no experience
Zero
at this level.
Yeah.
Like literally zero
Yeah.
experience, right? So, listen, the more I think about it, and now I feel more depressed when this chat started. I'm just kidding, I don't. It's going to be an experience, nothing else for these players and for this fan base, right?
Yeah. At the moment, the odds are Canada to get out of the group plus 300, Morocco 200, Croatia and Belgium obviously favored. How do you see this group finishing off?
I hate to be boring. I'm going to say it's Croatia, then Belgium.
Okay.
And then Canada and Morocco scrapping it out for that third
It's not
place.
boring. I
which
like
is-
it. Mix it up a little
yeah.
bit. I got Belgium finishing first.
Okay.
In second, I'm gonna go Morocco.
You going Morocco, really?
I think Morocco is gonna find a way to upset
Dark-
a few
dark
people.
horse?
They're
Yeah.
dark
Overall?
horse. They could be
Like
overall,
semi-finals, quarterfinals?
quarterfinals at
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
At best, but I think they could be a dark horse. They
Man,
advance
like
that
I
group,
said,
yeah.
you got a draw against Belgium and Croatia, and you beat Canada, or flip side, if Canada beat Morocco, 4 points is enough to go through. It'll be interesting to see.
How about you?
I wasn't going to say that to wrap it up. How can you not go Belgium, Croatia? I'm sorry. You can't. I mean, we've seen upsets. Hopefully it happens. I mean, I would love to see Canada get through that
Boring.
group.
Boring.
There's a chance. All right, flip it. Canada to top the group. All right, that's it for the Group F chat. Thanks for watching. And as James Sharman always says, cheers for watching.